Hi, welcome to the Carnivore Stories podcast with me, Alyssa Grubner. The carnivore way of eating completely transformed my life, and it's stories just like the ones you'll hear on this podcast that kept me going every step of the way. I hope you're ready to hear an inspirational carnivore story. I know I am, but first, let me tell you about the Meat-tastic t-shirts I have for sale on my spring store. It's a great opportunity for you to become a walking billboard if that's what you're into. And it's a great opportunity for you to support your new favorite podcast. You can find a link to the spring store in my bio on Instagram at meat, M-E-A-T, Mrs. M-R-S, Grubs, G-R-U-B-S. I'll also put a link to the store in this video's description on YouTube. So check it out and get some carnivore swag. Welcome to episode 15 of the Carnivore Stories podcast. Today I am joined by Mr. and Mrs. Carnivore, a married couple doing fantastic things with their health in their 50s. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, good to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, good to see you. Doing great. All right, so usually I'll start off by asking what your background was like before coming to carnivore, but first I want to know how long have you two been married?
We just celebrated 2 years.
Awesome. Wow, that's an accomplishment for sure. And okay, and so your husband was saying that he was dropping your son off for football. So you have children together?
We came to the marriage with children, so
Okay, blended family.
blended family. I have a 31-year-old and he has a 16 and 13-year-old.
Okay.
I call them my bonus boys.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So I guess, Delilah, do you want to start? What was your background like before coming, your lifestyle like before coming to carnivore?
I guess for the better part of the last several years, when I was working on weight loss, it was primarily keto or low carb. And I had tried carnivore once or twice before and hadn't done it to the extent that I do it currently, but did see success with it. But I hadn't really joined a community of other carnivores and didn't necessarily have a tremendous amount of information at that time. And I allowed myself to, reintroduce things as treats and snacks, and then ended up on, the yo-yo dieting thing again and gained weight, so it's been up and down. It's been up and down over the last several years. So, and then 9 months ago, I think going on 10 months now, was really struggling with just a lot that we had going on. My mother had passed. We just moved and had renovations going on in the house that we recently bought. And it was just so much happening. It was COVID and it was just a very stressful time. And I was, I'm a baker. So we have a family business out of a bakery, and which is a whole different conversation. But I felt the need to really buckle down and do something that was going to help me feel better, both physically, mentally, everything. So I really latched on to carnivore and said, I'm just going to do it. And so I'm about almost 10 months in, and I think 35 pounds down so far.
Wonderful. All right. And then Barry, how about you? What was your lifestyle like? What's the background story there?
Well, I'll be honest with you. My background is I didn't even know what a carbohydrate was until I was 25 years old. So I think it was a lot of just uneducated. I didn't know. So I heard about it, but it still didn't, steer me in the right direction back then. So it's a lot of bread, sugars, things of that nature. That was my background. And up until recently, it was still my background, a little bit of low carb here and there and, things of that nature. So, but yeah, once I found out about this, I got on the right track. Got on the right track.
Who was the first one to bring up carnivore? Who said, "Look, baby, we got to try this out. We got to
It was definitely my wife. She's always, on the cusp of these new things. So yeah, it was definitely her. I had never heard of it.
Well, and that was the first time around, as far as maybe like a year or so ago. But we didn't really stick with it. We tried it a little bit, and that was maybe over a year ago. And then and then when I decided to do it this time around, I actually didn't say anything to him about it. I just said, because his motto is just do it, right? When it comes to anything, he believes in, when you're getting ready to do something, just do it and don't really talk about it. Just get it done. And so I felt like I was going to embrace, his philosophy. And I didn't even tell him I was doing carnivore. And it was maybe about 3 months into it that he noticed one day. I think he said something about, my weight and how I was looking. And I said, well, I've actually been carnivore for 3 months. And he decided, without having to ask him.
You had him doing the double take. You were walking by and he said, hold on now.
Yes, I think it might have been something. I was standing in the doorway or something, and he decided to get on board. I didn't even have to say, hey, are you going to do it with me? He made that decision that day, like at that time, to get on board. And so it was very nice that he did that, because it's been even better doing it together.
When was the first time you heard about carnivore? Where did that first come to your awareness?
So that was I guess it was about 3 years ago. And I just happened to see something mentioned. I don't know if it was in a keto group on Facebook or something. And I don't even remember which particular influencer I saw first. I think Kelly Hogan may have been one of the first that I saw, that most people in the carnivore community are very familiar with. Eventually Dr. Berry, Dr. Baker. But to hear the stories about, people not having issues with cravings at all, and just keeping it really simple and really basic, and, changing their health. It was really motivating to me. And so I did try it back then, the 30 days. I didn't commit to it though. Even though I did see a marked difference, even in 30 days, I was still doing sweeteners. I was still doing, dairy and that sort of thing. And which, I know a lot of carnivores do that, or at least dairy at the very least. But it was probably this time around though, that about 3 months in, that I decided I was ready to let go of the dairy and the sweeteners. And that was the first time, I think, in life I had given up sweeteners and dairy. And that's when I saw the biggest change with carnivore for me.
Okay. Barry, when she first brought this up, the first ever time you heard about carnivore, did you think it was absolutely crazy? Like, what is this woman talking about? Just eating meat?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Like I say, when she first brought it up, I was like, okay. She said 30 days. I was like, okay, we can do 30 days. Of course, we were still doing a lot of sweeteners. I was still drinking my Diet Pepsi, which had the sweeteners in it. But I was like, okay, I like meat. So, yeah, it's not a big deal. So, But yeah, we did it, and I noticed some differences in the 30-day time. Then after that, we just went back to doing what we were really doing. I guess we were kind of, well, I guess I was trying to be low carb all the time, but still eating bread here and there. So, like I say, this time we were able to make a concentrated effort. Like I say, she started 3 months before me, and then when I jumped in, it was just all hands on deck.
Yeah.
So, did either of you have any issues adapting? Like Barry said, he was into those diet Pepsis. Was that hard to give up?
No, I gave it up that day that I said I was going to start.
Okay.
And that was 7 months ago. And I've only had water since.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Okay, so obviously you two are stronger together, doing this together. So you're not alone, and that's a really, really powerful thing. What about family and friends? What have they thought about this diet change?
Well, we haven't really shared it with family and friends too much unless they ask when there's
Okay.
changes. Um, so we're pretty low key about it, kind of on purpose. One, we're still early enough on the journey that, we want to make sure that we do well on this for ourselves first. And we're not necessarily trying to convince others in our circle to do it. We think that it's more effective if someone sees all the changes, both physically and just in how we are as people.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that opens the door for when they ask about what we're doing. So and I don't think you've really shared it with too many folks either. I know, yeah, you haven't really shared it with too many folks either, have you?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Nope. No, I haven't at all. People
So
comment, but I never say what I'm doing. I just say thank you and keep it moving. But if they really want to know, I will tell them.
Yeah, because a lot of people aren't ready to hear it yet. Carnivore is considered, everybody right now is focused on plant-based and being vegan and kind of demonizing meat. And while I'm very comfortable sharing it with people if it comes up, I'm not necessarily trying to debate or convince folks. When people are ready to hear it, they're ready to hear it. And, so yeah, we're pretty low key about it, but not hiding it, but just not trying to beat anybody over the head. I have a close friend that she had expressed interest in it, and I've encouraged her to consider it and to try carnivore to alleviate some health challenges that she's been having. But that'd probably be the extent of sharing it with folks. And one other friend who she's kind of already been nearly carnivore, who was actually one of the inspirations for me to go back to low carb and then eventually carnivore, because she gave up sugar altogether a couple of years ago, and she looks amazing. She's probably not considered carnivore, but she's pretty close.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely relate with not wanting to just shove it in people's faces. It's a lot of people just don't get it. They really think I'm crazy when I'm like, no, I don't eat any vegetables. I don't eat any fruits. I just eat meat.
Right.
But what about navigating like family gatherings, barbecues? Have you two been to any of those since being carnivore?
I don't think we have. I don't think we've been to anything.
We had something at our house, but I don't think we were carnivore, full blown carnivore then. So that'll be something to look forward to, how we're going to navigate that, because we haven't been to any outings like that.
Yeah, and you're right. I don't think we had anything here at the house since we've been carnivore. There just haven't really been any. I mean, we've been to individual kind of things, events, but not actual family gatherings. And so for me, I just, if we go somewhere else, it's just a matter of either make sure you eat before you go, know ahead of time what's being served and whether you have any options. And if there aren't going to be any options and you want to be able to eat there, just bring I would just bring our own food, would be the plan. Now, if we have something here, I think that's something to consider. I'm unsure what that would look like now.
Have both. That's what I believe.
Yeah. If I invite people over, I don't expect them to just have meat. Like I had a little
Right.
thing for my nieces and nephews, and we barbecue burgers because that's what I eat. I had the burgers, but I also bought them buns because I didn't want them to be like, oh, weird Auntie Alyssa, she makes us eat burgers without buns.
She made us eat hamburgers without buns.
Yeah.
Right.
She didn't have any ketchup. There was no pickles, nothing.
Yeah, they won't be coming back after that, right?
No.
Yeah, right. Like my husband said, and like you're saying, Alyssa, I think we would probably still generally serve the same things. We would probably just have maybe a few more meat options, but most people in our family and friends eat at least, even one of my family members who technically is vegan and almost raw vegan, but if she goes to an outing and there's some meat there, she'll dabble in the meat a little bit here and there. So I don't think anyone would. I don't think anybody would be bothered by us having several meat options in addition to all the other regular stuff that most people are used to. Yeah. So
I'll break out with the potato salad for them.
Yeah, we just wouldn't eat it, but like you said, we're not necessarily trying to make anyone else eat the way we're eating.
Right. So Delilah, you mentioned you're working in a bakery. What is that like? Yes. What is that like as a carnivore? I mean, you're not tasting things and you're surrounded by those aromas and
Yeah, so it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
When I went carnivore, back in, I guess that was October, November, I just let it go. And so everyone else around me taste tests now. We actually have some products that we put out there recently that people love and that we make that I made and have trained my team members on how to make, and I have no idea what they taste like. So it's kind of funny. I've had enough of what I make, and yes, it was amazing. It was great, but it wasn't taking me. I was one of those people that I've learned that I'm sure you're probably familiar with abstainers versus moderators. And as much as I always wished, now that I know what those terms, that there are words that explain it, I guess I always wanted to be a moderator. Didn't know what that, I didn't have a name for it, but I always wanted to be that person that could eat some of those things on occasion and then go back to eating, reasonably. And it was always very frustrating because that's not how it worked for me. Once I had that piece of cake or whatever it was, then I was going to have the next day and the next day and the next day, eventually anyway. And so I happen to be an abstainer. And now that I understand the difference between what those two things are, and I've accepted that's what I am, I actually feel more freedom than ever before. I understand that I don't happen to be the person that can play around with the sugar. And so I just, I've come to terms with that. And it actually, once I did come to terms with it and how amazing I feel on carnivore, I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah. Yes, I can totally relate because I'm known in my family as the one who's going to make the big decadent dessert, and bring it to Thanksgiving. And, I will not, now that I know what those things did to me for so long, I'm like, nope, I'll make it for you. I've got my grandpa's 82nd birthday coming up and they want me to make this big German chocolate cake. I said, okay, fine. I'll bring the drugs to the party. I'm not going to have any, but
You're the supplier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so who does a majority of the cooking?
Even I think it's kind of.
I say you do. It might be 60-40 that you do.
You
it just depends.
Oh.
Yeah, I think you do more. I think you do more cooking than I do.
Okay, well, maybe. I think I agree with you, though. It just depends. I think it depends on the circumstances. What I really appreciate is that he does know how to cook, and he cooks meat really well. And So, and there's certain things that he makes that I think he makes better than I do. So, it's really nice. So I guess, yeah, it balances out, but it's just kind of depends on what's going on in the house and our work schedules. But yeah, so we both cook. And in our cooking episode segments that we have on YouTube, he's the one cooking so far. So far, he does the cooking.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You are a better woman than I am, because I would never sit here and say, oh, there's some things my husband makes better than I do.
Look, I have to tell the truth, right? Some stuff he does best.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Well, before coming to Carnivore, I think I did 100% of the cooking. But what's nice that we're so meat heavy now. I'm the only one in my family that's carnivores. Me, my
Oh,
husband, and the 2 kids. But I mean, anybody can put a piece of meat on the grill. So that's allowed me to have my husband do a lot more cooking now.
yeah, I'm not very grill skilled. So he handles the grill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll start with Barry. What are you typically eating in a day?
Okay. Daily, I'm a little bit, I'm not the strict carnivore like my wife. So, I made some hot dogs. I made steak, lamb chops. I eat chicken, like baked chicken or, with the skin on or something like that. So just basically, like I say, hot dogs, bratwurst. I'll eat steak. I'll eat eggs, hamburger, ground beef, corned beef, things of that nature. Whereas, I guess that's, a step below strict carnivore.
He's pretty close to being strict though, because we only do salt for seasoning. And the only real difference, like he said, is, he might do hot dogs and deli meat. And he does certain meats or proteins that I just don't necessarily do very often. So like like you said, the lamb chops, he does shrimp, but he'll do it, with butter, of course, plenty of melted butter. But yeah, I'd say he's actually stricter than what he gives himself credit for. I just happen to don't only do whole meats, and it mainly beef. And for me, most optimally is ribeye. Physically, mentally, I don't know if it's the fat to protein ratio or what it is, but I am amazing and I'm on all cylinders when I eat ribeye. And I wish that were not the case because it's so expensive. But I just that's when I feel my best. I feel great with everything else, but something about ribeye, it's almost like I start singing, when I'm eating ribeye. I feel so good. He knows, like, I'm getting ready to eat my ribeye, so, yeah, so I'm just more basic. And so eggs, beef, butter, salt, that's pretty much it for me. I mean, I'll do wings on occasion, but I really don't eat chicken too much anymore. And I used to love chicken, but it just doesn't really do anything for me. And now when I eat, I'm eating for fuel. And so I just keep it to those things. And like I said, we both only use salt for seasoning now.
All right. So Delilah, your favorite carnivore food is the ribeye. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. How about you, Barry? What makes your heart sing? What is your favorite?
That's a good one. That's a good one. I can't really nail it down. I would say, I guess, the filet mignon, because we had some filet mignon last week, and that was pretty tasty. But that's not something that I'm eating all the time. So maybe I probably eat hamburger more so than the ribeye. So maybe that'll be my go-to, I would say.
Yeah.
All right. And have you two had any nice carnivore date nights?
We did for our anniversary. We went to a spot that had some uh, really good prime rib, and it was
Oh.
really, really good. And that's all we ate, prime rib and butter. I don't know. Did you have anything else?
I think I had some bacon and like boiled eggs also, something
Oh,
like
that's
that.
right.
Yeah, something like that.
Salad bar. Yeah, I think from the
Hmm.
salad bar you got bacon and boiled eggs. But I only did the prime rib, and um
Mm.
yeah, so it was really good. That was it.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good. I have not. I No, I have had prime rib since being carnivore, but it was a while ago.
Mhm.
Ri Other really good spots for carnivore dates that I've found. If you have you ever had Korean barbecue?
It's been a long time.
Okay. If you can find an all you can eat Korean barbecue, they're not going to know what to do when two carnivores sit down at one of their little stoves.
Oh, we will. We'll have to do that.
Yes. Oh, it is so nice. And so usually they have selections that are marinated, and then they have some that are plain,
Right.
and you can just put salt on them. But it's so nice. You can sit across from each other, gaze into each other's eyes, cook meat
And
for
eat
each
meat.
other. Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's the one with the little grill right in front of you on the table, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, I've seen that.
Yes.
I've seen
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's definitely
Yeah,
one of
that's
my
a good
favorites.
idea. That's a really good idea. We'll need to try that. We'll have to do that. We'll have to do
Yeah. That, and then Brazilian, like a
that. Brazilian
Brazilian
steakhouse.
steakhouse.
Mm,
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
and
And
we have a few here where we live, so that's also a really good idea too. Yeah.
yes, I will I try to put them out of business when I go. They look at me like I'm crazy because I'm not going for the salad bar. I'm not touching their
Right.
little plantains and
Mhm.
cheesy bread in the middle of the table. I'm here for the meat.
For the meat, right? Yeah. No, that's a great idea. We need to do that. We need to do that. So, because I guess with the resurgence of, I wouldn't not research, but we've had some spotty times with COVID here
Yes.
in Michigan, and so we haven't really gone out too much. So that's a great idea. I love that. Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned the meats you eat. Have you tried incorporating organs at all?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I am not a fan of the organ meats, and I wondered for a while, well, should I be trying them? But I've heard so many of the influencers that happen to also be doctors say that, at the end of the day, you don't have to do them. You don't have to do
Right.
nose to tail. If you do, that's great. But there's so many people who have been carnivore for years who never do organ meats and seem to do very, very well. So
Absolutely.
so if I felt there were a need to, I probably would just figure it out and find a way. But we don't at this time do any organ meats. That's a good
Yeah,
question.
I wouldn't say it's necessary. And then lately there's been some talk about people getting too much vitamin A from like liver,
Right.
people eating liver every day.
Yeah.
And some people will say, oh, there's no risk, but some people say, no, there's most definitely a risk. You build this up in your body.
Yeah.
So I would definitely tell anybody, if you don't like it, don't force yourself to eat it.
Right. Exactly. If you're not, yeah. So we haven't dabbled in the organ meats.
Okay. All right. Now, Delilah, you mentioned the 35-pound weight loss. That is awesome. I know that feels great as a woman, as anybody really. But
Yeah. No, it feels amazing. And I'd probably like to lose another 30 to 40 more. I think what's amazing about carnivore is I think many of us who start carnivore, many, not all, but many started with weight being one of the motivators. for me, it was weight and just overall health, because I'd heard about people, you know, you get your body really heals on carnivore. And what's been really crazy for me is normally when I'm on when I've tried any other way of eating, keto, low carb, or anything, I even tried being a vegan at one point, and a vegetarian. The weight was always the primary focus. What I found after the first month or so on carnivore was I was so amazed at how it affected my well-being and my health, especially after I gave up the sugar and the sweeteners and the dairy. I was so blown away by how it made me feel mentally that was what I latched onto, was the mental health side of it, how I was managing stress, looking so different, and not feeling overwhelmed with everything like I was before. So while the weight is really awesome and I do want to lose more, I don't jump on the scale all the time. And I'm just really, really happy with just how it makes me feel. And that's what I seem to hear from most other carnivores. It's like there's just this huge shift that happens. It's really hard to explain if you haven't experienced it. But so I'm okay if it takes another 2 years to get 40 pounds off, or if it even never came off. But if I still felt the way I'm feeling right now, I'd be okay with that.
Yes. Yeah, I have to agree. Before carnivore, it was the weight on the scale was the end all be all. That was what mattered, at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. How much do I weigh? And now I'm sitting at a weight that in the past I would have said, well, this is terrible. I got to get the weight down, but I feel amazing. I've never been healthier. I've never been happier. And so I'm like, I don't care what the scale says. I feel good about myself. I feel good. I'm healthy, and that's it.
Yeah. And I never thought that would be how I would feel about a way of eating, which makes me believe that even makes me feel that much more strongly about carnivore, because if it can make you feel so good mentally, physically, and you happen to lose some weight, it's like, I just think it's the best thing ever. I wish more people who are struggling with health issues and metabolic issues and, or stress, anxiety, depression, any of those things, I wish more people knew how much better they could feel and how quickly they could get there by just changing what they put in their body.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. What about you, Barry? Because you've got a before and after picture also. So you dropped some weight as well.
Yeah. I think I might be, I would say on the low end, maybe about 40, 45 pounds. But the thing that amazes me is the transformation that the body takes. I don't feel like I've lost so much, but of course we do that. But when I look at the pictures, I'll be like, wow, that's a pretty big difference. But the way your body transforms, your face, everything, like I say, when I'm at work, I have people that I haven't seen for a while or a few months. They really don't recognize me until they really get up on me and I call them or something. They be like, oh, okay. Did you lose weight or something? So it's like a total body transformation is going on. And like people who haven't seen me for like 3 months, they like, oh, I didn't know that was you. I thought that was you, but I wasn't sure. So it's all about the body transformation. My face looks different. My frame, just everything, just, repositioning everything like that. So that's a big thing for me. I haven't weighed myself in quite a while either.
Yeah. I think to his point, that's the other thing, is how the weight is coming off me this time is very different than it ever has been before. So, I'm amazed all the time at carnivore and what it does to your body. And so, yeah, and our skin looks different now than it did before, where I don't even, not that I was wearing a lot of, because I kind of in the last couple of years haven't really been wearing makeup too much anyway. But
you don't need makeup, hon.
Thank you, honey. But, but I feel even more comfortable going without makeup because the way our skin gets to, it's like we all, like you have it too, Alyssa, like this, your skin is glowing and you just feel so comfortable in your own, literally in your own skin, more so on Carnivore than any other thing. I mean, I like to go get my eyebrows done and I'm in need of that right now. But other than that, I really don't feel the need to, cover my skin with anything because in his skin, he had like darker spots here that are almost gone. Where his skin is evening out and has that, that glow and everything. So I think it's, it's so cool. It is really cool. The body transformation, like you said, which again, it must mean that our bodies are really healing from the inside out.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So can you two see yourselves doing this long term? Like, because you've started and stopped Carnivore in the past. Is this time forever?
Well, we always say we take it one day at a time.
Right.
And then there's something that he always says. Tell him what you say, hon.
What's that, huh? I say a lot of stuff, so I really
taking care of your health.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always say that if you don't take charge of your health or take care of your health, someone else will. So, that's a determining factor for us that, we want to be around, we want to be healthy, and, that's what we want to do.
So to answer your question, right now, we do take it one day at a time, but we have no desire to go back to what we were doing before. And yes, I can see myself eating this way for the rest of my life because I spent, I'm 52 and I've spent the majority of my adult life struggling with my weight, really my entire adult life, struggling with my weight, and yet never feeling like I was on the path to where I wanted to be. This is the first time where I feel like, wow, I'm actually where I want to be. And that's even if no more weight comes off. But the funny thing is I probably will, based on where my body levels out, I think I'll lose at least another 20, 30 pounds over time if I continue on this, which is my plan, because I've just never experienced this. I've just never experienced anything like this before. Any other way of eating, even on keto, I still had cravings. I was still wanting to eat, keto snacks and treats and make the keto desserts, and which then led me to just eating the real desserts eventually. And so this is the first time where I don't have any desire for any of that stuff. And I don't feel deprived. I always felt like I was missing something on any other way of eating. With this way of eating, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. So yeah, I could see doing this long term. And this is
for
the longest.
I'm sorry, hon. Go ahead.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I'll say it for me. Previously, when I tried to do any types of diet, I would get to a certain point and I'd be like, okay, well, this is as far as I can go. Let me go on back to what I was doing before. But with Carnivore, it's a little bit different. I just feel like, you can just keep on going and keep on going. Like I say, with other stuff, I get to a certain point. Well, let me go on back, give me a couple of loaves of bread or something like that. But now, I see this is sustainable for me. This is very sustainable. I don't get bored. So yeah, it's very easy, very easy.
I have one last question for the both of you. I guess we'll go with Delilah first. What advice would you give to someone just starting out on Carnivore, or what's something you wish you knew in the beginning?
That's good. I would say for someone just starting out is first and foremost, truly give it a solid 30 to 45 days. And make, lock into whatever your why is, like what's your real reason for doing it. And because I know so many people come to carnivore because of issues that they're having, even if it's not weight, but there's something that brings them to it. And to allow themselves to truly experience the benefits of it by giving it at least 30 to 45 days. And I wish what I would have known, Alyssa, I wish I would have fully understood the magnitude of the change that takes place inside and out. I think I wish I would have known that. I don't know if there's a way to help people understand the marked difference that you feel physically and mentally. I just, I smile more. We already had a peaceful marriage, but how I handled stress, I think, was challenging at times. And like, it was just like an intensity of being overwhelmed and feeling distressed when there's so much going on. And I think what I appreciate the most is we have just such a sense of peace now, because I'm not stressing out. And, just some of it was just the nature of being an entrepreneur and some of those things and just life circumstances, but still just not having any of that stuff and being able to navigate life so much more effectively. I wish people understood how carnivore really does help you kind of have a reset with that sort of thing. And I've just never experienced it before. So
my advice would be, don't look for approval from other people. Go discuss it with them. And what do you think? When you're mentally ready to do it, just do it. Don't wait till the first of the month. Don't wait till if it's Sunday, Thursday, or whatever. Don't wait. Well, I'm gonna start Monday. Just do it. That's always been my philosophy. Don't look for approval. Don't go around telling everybody what you do. Concentrate on yourself. Stick to your plan, and just do it. And get healthy. And if you lose weight in the process, then yes, that's a good thing. And what I wish I would have known in the beginning was how great I would feel, how this weight would come off, how people wouldn't recognize me, and I would have did it sooner. So and also what I want people to realize, if they're just starting, if you happen to fall off that horse, just jump right back on. You can always start again. Everyone makes mistakes. Not everyone, but a lot of people get weak sometimes, and just get back on. If you fall off that horse, get right back in the saddle, and and grab those reins tight.
Yeah, I agree with him that, especially if you're in a household where you're the only one that's going to be going carnivore, is you can actually draw unnecessary attention to yourself that can create stress and make it harder. So just keeping it, I agree with him 100%, keeping it to yourself and just do it. Experience the benefits.
Yes. Now I set out that was the last question. I lied. For real, this is the last question this time. Are there any other unexpected benefits that really surprised you from becoming carnivore?
Tell her about your hair, huh?
Yeah, so I had heard that sometimes people's hair begins to, if you're gray or, and I'm almost all gray, not so much now. It's starting to turn back, and I didn't expect that. And I thought I noticed it, but I didn't say anything. And then he noticed it. And so my hair is actually getting darker. And I started graying when I was 21, 22. So I've been gray pretty much most of my life. It just got progressively, more gray over time. But it is starting to get darker. And as a baker, I do have some burn marks on my dominant hand. I'm left-handed, and my dominant arm. And he noticed, and I thought I noticed it, but I thought maybe it's just me. And he noticed before I said anything that my burn marks are starting to go away. These are marks that have been with me for a lot of them several years, some of them in the last couple of years. And but they're lightening up more than I've ever experienced. And the only major change has been going carnivore. And then with him, I think the unexpected thing is people not recognizing. So I think that might be a better.
And also, as far as hair, I'm thinking that maybe if I stay carnivore long enough, my hair will regrow too. So I'm not, I'm staying hopeful for that too.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Stranger things have happened. I would not put it past this way of eating.
Right.
Now, you mentioned that there's a cooking show, a YouTube cooking show.
Well, what it is
Where can everyone find that? What is your YouTube handle?
So our YouTube is Mr. and Mrs. Carnivore, also our Instagram as well, and our Facebook page. They're all Mr. and Mrs. Carnivore. What it is you may be familiar with Black Carnivore, 8A Fox. She invited us to be on her YouTube channel. So all of our episodes have been on her YouTube channel that we do weekly. And then we will also begin now doing some additional content on our YouTube channel as well. So I had reached out to her a few months ago, just asking her for some guidance on, if we want to share our story on our YouTube page, what do you recommend, or, what was your experience with doing that? And she actually invited us to be on her channel, which has been great because she obviously has a large following, and it's been really awesome, and the response has been pretty amazing. So we weren't expecting to do that. So sometimes he does a segment called In the Kitchen with Carnivore B, and so he does his thing, and that's where, for right now, it's on her Black Carnivore YouTube channel, but we will also be doing additional content on our channel, Mr. and Mrs. Carnivore, as well.
Awesome. Absolutely. That sounds great. Because I know people are going to want to find you after listening to your stories. Very inspirational. Definitely. I'm going to have to follow you on YouTube. I'm following you on Instagram. I'm going to have to follow you on YouTube. But thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Carnivore. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been absolutely lovely.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. It was a real pleasure.
Right.
And looking forward to staying in touch.
That's it for today. Until next time, stay meaty, stay strong, and stay inspired. Do you have a carnivore story to tell? Connect with me on Instagram at meet, MEAT, Mrs. MRS Grubs, GRUBS. I would love to interview you, and the world needs to hear your story and how meat heals. Thanks so much for watching and all your support. Bye-bye till next time.